My name's Jordan, I'm 28, and I've always been the kind of older brother who felt more like a second parent. Growing up, our family dynamic was uneven, to put it nicely. My sister Kayla, now 25, was the golden child, not because she earned it, but because she demanded it. I was the quiet one, the fixer, the one who got good grades, picked up shifts when money was tight, and didn't throw tantrums when mom said no. Kayla, on the other hand, was chaos in designer jeans. She cried until she got what she wanted, talked her way out of consequences, and blamed everything on someone else. Usually me. By the time we were adults, I thought things would change. I moved out, started my own career in web development, got an apartment, a cat, and even began saving for a down payment on a small place of my own. Kayla? She bounced from one life path to another like she was flipping channels. First it was nursing school. She dropped out after a semester because the scrubs made her look boxy. Then it was influencer marketing, then freelance event planning, then something with NFTs. She always seemed to be on the verge of success, but somehow never quite got there. And yet, every family dinner, every birthday, every phone call with my parents ended with the same passive-aggressive remark. Jordan, can't you just help her out? She's trying. So when Kayla called crying on a Tuesday night in April, I wasn't even surprised. I was tired, both literally and emotionally, but I picked up anyway. She sounded panicked, frantic. Said her landlord was threatening eviction. Claimed her ex bailed on their shared bills. Said her phone might get shut off. She dropped phrases like barely eating and literally have nothing, which hit a nerve because there was a time I really did have nothing. And no one helped me then. I just need to get through the next 2 weeks, she said, voice trembling. Please, Jordy. I paused. She hadn't called me Jordy since we were kids, and she wanted something. But against my better judgment, I said yes. Not instantly. First I asked for the breakdown. She said she needed $5,000. Rent, groceries, internet, utilities, a little buffer so she could eat. I didn't have $5,000 lying around, but I had $6,400 in my savings account, and the way she made it sound, she'd be out on the street by Friday. So I wired her the money that night. Even sent her a screenshot of the transfer confirmation. She didn't even say thank you. The next 2 days were quiet. No calls, no texts. I figured she was busy dealing with her landlord or trying to catch up on overdue bills. I didn't need gratitude. I just hoped she'd finally find some stability. I even checked my own budget, quietly canceling a trip I'd planned for next month and pushing back my condo savings timeline. I wasn't angry. Not yet. Then came Saturday. I was lying on my couch, half watching a Netflix documentary, when my phone buzzed with a notification from Instagram. I usually mute everything, but this one got through. Kayla had just posted to her story. I tapped on it casually, and there she was, on a yacht, wearing a new white bikini, sunglasses I know cost over $300, holding what looked like a bottle of Moat. There were at least 8 other people around her, music blasting, and glittering water in the background. The caption? It read, "No broke vibes allowed." I blinked, backed out, watched the video again. Then I scrolled. Her grid was updated 2 new photos with the yacht tagged as Miami Dream Charters. A group shot with the hashtags #YachtLife and #blessed. One of her clinking glasses with some guy I'd never seen before, captioned "Manifesting Rich Husband Energy." My hands started to shake. I didn't want to jump to conclusions. Maybe it wasn't her money. Maybe she was invited. Maybe this was some networking event and she just looked fancy. But I couldn't ignore the gut punch. The way her voice had cracked when she said she couldn't eat. The trembling desperation when she said she might lose her place. And now she was sipping champagne on a boat, pretending poverty didn't even exist. I sent a single message. Just a question mark. She read it within seconds. No reply. I watched the scene icon sit there like it was mocking me. I waited 10 minutes, then 30, then an hour. Nothing. So I texted again. "This is what you needed rent money for?" Still no reply. I opened Instagram again and saw that she'd uploaded another story. This time it was her tossing her phone into a designer tote, laughing with the caption, "Leaving the drama in 2024. That's when it clicked. It wasn't just a lie, it was a performance. She'd played me. And the worst part? She didn't even care that I knew. I didn't scream, didn't call. I just sat there, quiet, scrolling through her photos while the weight of every unpaid favor and every second chance I'd ever given her suddenly felt like 1,000 bricks. Then I opened my banking app. The transfer had gone through. No way to reverse it now. But I still had the receipt. And I still had her landlord's contact info from a previous time she'd asked me to talk to him when she was late with rent. I pulled up her yacht photo, screenshotted the post, complete with timestamp and caption. Then I opened my email, typed in the landlord's address. Subject line, rent payment. I attached the wire transfer confirmation and the screenshot. I didn't say anything else. Just let the evidence speak for itself. Then I hit send. I didn't hear anything that night. By Monday afternoon, my phone lit up like it had been struck by lightning. 23 missed calls, all from a number I didn't recognize. No voicemail, no texts, just a barrage of attempts, all within the span of 90 minutes. I stared at the screen, watching the call count rise like a stock graph gone rogue. And I knew. Kayla had finally noticed. I didn't answer. Instead, I scrolled down to my email and found exactly what I was expecting. Her landlord had replied. Short, cold, professional. Thank you for the documentation, Jordan. We've initiated lease review and formal follow-up per tenant agreement. This appears to constitute misrepresentation. If she reaches out, please direct her to our legal department. That was all. No unnecessary detail. Just enough to tell me that whatever I'd sent had lit a fire under someone. The next notification came from Instagram. Kayla's profile? Gone. Not deleted. Private. Which she never did. She loved attention more than food. So I opened a browser, went incognito, and searched again. Still there. Just locked tight. Classic move, circle the wagons, control the narrative. She was probably calling every friend she had, trying to explain how her generous brother turned into a vindictive snitch. But I wasn't done yet. Because what Kayla hadn't considered, what she never considered, was that landlords talk. Especially when you send them evidence of fraud. And within an hour of receiving that email, hers had looped in the building's property manager, who, in turn, sent a mass memo to the other tenants. It was a digital nudge. A gentle reminder. Per lease agreement, all financial disclosures must be accurate. Misuse of external funds for non-housing-related purposes may result in early termination of rental privileges. I saw the memo. Someone forwarded it to me, someone who had no idea I triggered it. A friend of a friend, who also lived in that building, and who messaged me with a laughing emoji and a casual, "Yo, do you know who this is about?" I didn't reply, but I smiled. The calls kept coming. Eventually, a text broke through. From the same new number. "What did you do? My lock code doesn't work. My stuff's in there. I'm locked out like a criminal. They're saying I violated terms?" No, hey. No apology. No acknowledgement of what she'd done. Just panic. Pure self-preservation. I left her on read. For the first time, I understood how powerful that felt. Over the next few hours, more messages followed. Rapid-fire bursts of desperation, rage, bargaining. "You didn't have to go nuclear, Jordy. I was going to pay you back. They're saying I owe double now because of a clause? You made this a legal thing? Can we just talk? Please. I don't even have a place to sleep." That one hit me. For a moment, the guilt tried to creep in. I imagined her sitting outside her apartment, bags at her feet, mascara running down her face. But then I remembered the yacht, the champagne, the caption, "No broke vibes allowed." And I remembered the time I asked her for help covering a surprise medical bill 3 years ago, only $200, and she told me flatly, "It's not my job to fix your life, Jordan." So I went quiet. Didn't block her. Didn't respond. Just existed in the silence she created. And while she spiraled, I did something else. I checked the rest of my accounts. Turns out the $5,000 wasn't the only thing she'd gotten her hands on. A few weeks prior, she'd asked to borrow my Costco card, just for the day. Said she wanted to do a bulk run to save money. I'd forgotten all about it, until I saw a $749 charge from the online store. A massive furniture order. Not even shipped to her address. It was shipped to someone named Brianna. A quick scroll through Instagram, before she went private, confirmed it. Brianna was one of the women from the yacht. I recognized the hat. Same one she'd worn in a photo, holding a flaming cocktail. The caption had said, "She's the rich aunt we all deserve." I checked the shipping confirmation again. My name, my account, her friend's address. Now it wasn't just a betrayal. It was theft. I filed a report. Costco flagged the transaction within 48 hours, refunded my money, and deactivated the card. But I didn't stop there. Because if Kayla thought she could play rich while draining the one person who'd ever shown her unconditional loyalty, she was about to learn what happens when the conditions change. The next step was my credit card. A month ago, I'd co-signed for a low-limit visa she begged me for, said she was rebuilding her credit and needed help. I hadn't checked the balance in weeks. So I logged in, and my blood ran cold. $2,760. Maxed. Makeup subscriptions, VIP club entry, Postmates deliveries to hotels, and even an Uber ride from Miami Dream Marina to Crescent Lounge, a private rooftop bar known for $30 cocktails. The payment was due in 6 days, and my name was still on it. That's when something inside me flipped. Not anger, not even betrayal, just a deep, calm certainty that this would never happen again. She had made her bed, and now it was time to flip the mattress. I didn't storm into her DMs, didn't post a call out. I didn't even mention the credit card to her. That would have been too easy, too loud. And Kayla thrived in chaos. Attention, even negative, was her oxygen. So I chose silence. But I also chose precision. The next morning, I called the credit card company, spoke to a rep named Alicia, explained the situation calmly, and asked a simple question. What happens when a cosigner files a dispute for fraud by misuse? Turns out, quite a lot. Because even though I'd co-signed, the purchases weren't mine. And because they were made without my knowledge, the liability could shift. Not immediately. But if I filed a claim and followed the right steps, it would trigger a full account review. The card would be frozen. The balance would be investigated. And if enough red flags were found, my name would be removed and she'd be held solely responsible. So I filed. And while the wheels turned behind the scenes, I did one last thing. I called my bank and revoked the account view access Kayla had to my profile. A long time ago, back when she said she wanted to learn how to budget like me. I'd walked her through a few things and forgotten she still had login access. Nothing harmful, but enough to see my balances. Enough to know how much I had left. Or didn't. She wouldn't get that peek anymore. And then, I waited. That Friday, I got a text from Mom. Hey, sweetie, is everything okay? Kayla's been trying to reach you. She said she's going through a lot. Right. Funny how a lot only ever applied when she was on the edge of consequences. I didn't respond. Saturday, another message came through. This time from Dad. Can you just call her and hear her out? She made a mistake, but locking her out of her apartment? That's extreme. And that nearly made me laugh. Because for years, whenever I said Kayla crossed a line, when she borrowed my car and returned it with an empty tank and 2 parking tickets, when she ruined my laptop by spilling wine on it and said I should have had Apple Care, when she skipped my graduation because she was hungover from someone's birthday, I was always told I was too sensitive. Now, suddenly, they were intervening. Not because she lied. Not because she spent the money. Not even because she dragged me into financial chaos. No, they were upset because the consequences were inconvenient. But I wasn't 13 anymore. I didn't need to be the peacemaker, the fixer, the duct tape holding a cracked face together. I was done. That night, I got another message from Kayla's number. They're kicking me off the lease unless I pay the entire month plus next. I don't have it. You started this. You fix it. Still no apology. Just blame. I could picture her face, eyes wide, voice trembling, trying to manipulate the situation back into her favor. She was probably already crafting the Instagram post. Family will break you faster than enemies ever could. #real talk. #healing journey. I almost pitied her. Almost. Instead, I kept documenting everything. Screenshots. Receipts. Conversations. I wasn't planning anything grand, not yet. But I wanted a record. Not for revenge. For protection. Because I knew Kayla. If things got worse, she'd twist the story. She'd say I gave her the money as a gift. That I never said it was for rent. That I was jealous of her lifestyle and tried to sabotage her out of spite. So I built a quiet wall of proof. And that wall got taller the next day, when a mutual friend sent me a screenshot from her Finsta, a backup Instagram where she posted things she didn't want the main audience to see. The post was a selfie of her sitting on a suitcase outside a Starbucks. Captioned, "When your own brother tries to ruin your life because you're doing better than him, good luck dating when everyone knows you're a snake." That one? That got under my skin. Not because of the insult. Because of the lie. Doing better than me? I live in my own place. I work full-time. I have savings, a clean credit score, a decent therapist. I don't leech off people and call it empowerment. I don't lie to get what I want. I don't celebrate fake wins while someone else foots the bill. Kayla didn't just play the victim, she marketed it. And she thought if she cried loud enough, if she posted enough sad girl selfies with motivational quotes, someone else would step in. Someone always had. But not this time. Because the bank had just approved the fraud investigation. The card was frozen. Her charges were flagged. And an official letter was en route to her apartment, though based on her current, on-the-go lifestyle, she might not even see it before the deadline hit. And that deadline? It came with interest. I gave it one more week. Not because I was waiting for an apology, I knew better. I gave it a week because I wanted to see just how deep Kayla would dig before she realized there was no one left to throw the dirt onto but herself. By day 5, the phone calls had slowed down. The texts turned from furious to pleading. One message said, "I'll pay you back. I swear. Just help me get back in the apartment first." Another asked, "Do you think Mom will let me stay for a while?" Which, frankly, made me laugh. Kayla was the family's golden child when she was sparkling. But when she lost her shine, my parents were the first to dim the lights and pretend they didn't notice. Sure enough, I got another call, not from Kayla, but from Mom. She was whispering like she was in a hospital room or a church pew. "Jordan, can I ask you something?" "Sure," I said. "What's up?" "Well, Kayla says you froze her credit card and got her kicked out of her apartment. Is that true?" I leaned back in my chair. "She told you that, huh?" "She said you were being vindictive, that you embarrassed her in front of her landlord and now she can't even access her stuff." I paused for a beat. "Did she tell you why I froze the card?" "She said you got upset over a misunderstanding. That misunderstanding cost me over $2,000. And the apartment? I didn't get her kicked out. She did that all by herself when she lied about needing money for rent and blew it on a yacht party. I just told the truth. And the truth had consequences." Mom went quiet for a long time. Then she said, "You know how she is, Jordan. She's always been impulsive." "That's not impulsive, Mom. That's manipulation. And I'm done pretending otherwise." "But she's family." I sighed. "So am I. But no one ever said that when it was my stuff being stolen, or my money being drained, or my life being derailed." Mom didn't reply. I think she knew she couldn't argue. Maybe for the first time, she realized the safety net wasn't woven out of love. It was made of guilt. And mine had finally snapped. That night, I got the final notification. The fraud investigation was complete. The credit card company ruled in my favor. The balance was reassigned to the primary cardholder, Kayla. My name was removed. The damage to my credit? Gone. The payments? Canceled. Her balance was now overdue, with interest piling on by the day. They'd already begun the collections process. I thought I'd feel smug, maybe even victorious. But mostly, I felt calm. Like I'd finally crawled out from under a weight I'd been carrying since we were kids. The guilt of saying no. The fear of seeming selfish. The pressure to play the role of the good sibling, even when it meant setting myself on fire to keep her warm. It was over. A few days later, I saw Kayla one last time. Completely by chance, I was leaving a coffee shop, earbuds in, walking toward my car. She was across the street, dragging a duffel bag behind her, talking to someone on speakerphone. Her voice was tight, snappy. "I told you I can't pay until Friday." "No, I don't have another card. Just give me 2 more days, okay?" She didn't see me, and I didn't say anything. I just got in my car and drove away. She was no longer my responsibility. A week later, I got a letter. Handwritten. No return address. The handwriting was obviously hers, looped and dramatic, like she was trying to write for an audience. Inside, 2 pages. The first was filled with self-pity. "I can't believe you'd humiliate me like that. You have no idea what I'm dealing with. I trusted you. I thought you were different from everyone else." Then came the guilt tripping. "You've always thought you were better than me. Admit it. You've been waiting for me to fail." And finally, the request. "I'm staying with a friend right now, but it's temporary. If you could spot me one last time, just enough for a deposit, I swear I'll pay you back. You're the only one I have left." I read the letter once. Then I folded it back into the envelope, scribbled one word on the outside, and mailed it back. Returned. I didn't add a note. I didn't need to. Because what Kayla didn't understand, what she probably never would, is that bridges don't burn all at once. They rot slowly, plank by plank, every time you step on them with no intention of carrying your weight. The yacht post was just the match, but I was the one holding it. It's been 6 months now. Kayla doesn't have my number anymore. My bank accounts are locked tighter than a vault. No shared cards. No emergency loans. No second chances. Last I heard through the grapevine, she's couch surfing. Still posting on Instagram, still hashtagging #survivor, still framing herself as the misunderstood free spirit. Meanwhile, I bought my condo. A small place, 2 bedrooms, clean, quiet, with a view of the city skyline and enough room for me and the life I built without her draining it. Sometimes I sit out on the balcony with a cup of coffee and think about everything that happened. And I don't feel bitter. I feel free. Kayla thought the $5,000 was her win, that she'd pulled one over on her boring, responsible brother. But what she really did, she gave me permission to stop carrying her, to stop fixing her, to stop explaining myself, and to finally fully walk away. No guilt, no regrets, just peace.